Hello, my friend, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Daily. My name is Aaron Machbitz. And so I was asked a very interesting question recently about heels and the 2000s. The question was, who do you think the top three heels were of the 2000s? Now, if you're not understand wrestling jargon, right? Heels are the villains, baby faces are the good guys. So really the question is, who are the top three villains of the 2000s era? Who were the most dastardly bad guys of the 2000s era? Now, my initial sort of off the dome answer was like CM Punk, Chris Jericho, JBL, Triple H, Bald Randy Orton. Those were sort of my initial, not even thinking about it, just right off the cuff answers. And then with further investigation and looking at the 2000s and the top storylines and villains and matches and everything that happened because of those heels in the 2000s, these are my actual answers for the top three heels or villains of the 2000s era, because there were some really good villains or heels in that 2000s era. And I think number one was Triple H, right? The Game, Triple H. He was arguably the most dominant heel of the decade, right? He had a sort of a reign of terror in the mid 2000s. He was positioned obviously as a world champion. He was the leader of Evolution faction, generated intense, fan hatred. He was a, perennial sort of main event guy, had unbelievable type matches. Some of those matches including, Cactus Jack at Royal Rumble 2000, Triple H versus Shawn Michaels and Chris Benoit at WrestleMania 20 in 2004. I mean, some really good stuff there from Triple H, and he was like, that was his peak form. Like 2004 Triple H was like peak Triple H. He was like one of the best heels probably ever. I mean, we talked about recently on another video, Cody Rhodes, Mount Rushmore, and he did put Triple H in his Mount Rushmore, which I don't agree with that take. He did it more of a, made it like a political statement or whatever. Thank you for giving me another championship reign. But this was Triple H's best work. Him as a heel, jacked out of his mind in the 2000s, was top notch. And then the second one, maybe they're all intertwined, maybe they're all just one. I don't know if there's 1, 2, or 3. Maybe it's 1A, 1B, 1C. But Edge comes in next to someone that is unbelievable at being a heel, right? Edge, known as the rated R superstar, the ultimate opportunist, right? Edge defined the later half of this decade as a main event heel. I mean, I go back to 2006, where I started watching wrestling in that feud with John Cena leading up to SummerSlam match in 2006. I mean, you have that video of Edge going to John Cena's dad's house. He's smacking him in the face. He's got Lita. They're doing sex parties, right? Edge was the rated R superstar. He had an intense rivalry. He had Money in the Bank briefcases. Again, that John Cena rivalry was amazing. He had a real life drama being incorporated into his sort of dirtbag persona. I mean, Edge was the guy and still is the guy. He had some of the most intense heat in that era. Again, I told you what heels mean villains, baby faces mean good guys. Heat, if you get heat as a heel, that means the crowd is reacting to you. They're booing you. You want heat. You want as much heat as humanly possible if you are a heel, and Edge got that from everything that he did. Again, the reason I fell in love with wrestling was because of Edge and John Cena and their amazing 2006 feud leading up to that match at SummerSlam. Incredible work right there. And then you move on to 1A, 1B, 1C is Bald Randy Orton. Bald Randy Orton was a fucking menace, bro. This guy was trying to boot people's heads off, right? Emerging from Evolution as the Legend Killer. Randy Orton's heel persona was perfect for him. Cocky, entitled, who earned this heat by disrespecting and attacking wrestling legends and just being better than everyone else. I mean, what put him on the map was his feud with The Undertaker early on. Towards the end of this decade, right, then we saw his character evolve into this calculated and sadistic viper who could punt opponent's head, right, solidifying him as a top heel. So you had this sort of transition of, Evolution and Legend Killer and Viper, and now we have veteran Randy Orton currently, and he's in my Mount Rushmore. I absolutely love Randy Orton. But this sort of Viper he was the best right here. Bald Randy Orton, tan, all oiled up, just absolutely being a menace, punting people's heads. Like, those are the type of heels that I definitely do miss in today's professional wrestling. I think honorable mentions, though, you got to think of like The Miz, really good. But I think the most important honorable mention are these three cats would be like JBL, JBL had an absolute tremendous heel run in the 2000s, like the rich sort of Texan type thing, clothesline from hell, his long title reign where eventually John Cena beat him. Like, that was incredible stuff. We absolutely loved JBL. Chris Jericho had a perfect sort of suit-wearing, sort of condescending type of villain. Chris Jericho was perfect in that role. And then, Kurt Angle played a really good sort of pompous Olympic hero type heel. So you have like Randy Orton, Edge, and Triple H as sort of the standard bearers for heels in the 2000s. And then you have JBL and Chris Jericho and Kurt Angle as sort of honorable mentions for really great heels. I think later in the 2000s, you have like CM Punk, you have like The Miz, things of that nature. Those guys were really, really, really good as well. And then maybe the ultimate heel who can bring anyone to life with what he says is Paul Heyman. And so I think those are at least my picks for top heels in the business of the 2000s. And then you think about today's heels, like what's happening with the heels of today. Why don't people garner as much heat as they used to? Do they garner as much heat? Is it possible to get as much heat? I mean, the business has changed. Everything is out in the open now. Everyone knows the secrets. I mean, in 2000s, they probably knew the secrets as well, but it wasn't as mainstream. We weren't on Netflix. We were on ESPN. There weren't documentaries behind the scenes. Like, the business was a little bit more protected. So maybe that's a reason why villains could actually get heat. Villains were actually villains. Now, Drew McIntyre tries really, really hard right now to be a heel. But he's too well liked. I love Drew McIntyre. He's just too good. And so it's really kind of complicated to make the heel thing work. So if you can really actually do now, today, like be a really, really believable villain, you're going to go all the way to the top. And then what's going to happen is, since you're so good at being a villain, it's just organically going to switch and you're going to become a babyface. That's always how it works. But I'd love to know what you think about your top 3 heels of the 2000s, or maybe your top 3 heels of all time. Let me know in the comments down below. I'd absolutely love to hear from you. Let's start a discussion there. And then like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers.